Okay. Hi. Anyhow, I'm giving in to the mob, and I'm going to talk about EBT some more. Before I get into this, let's start off with some statistics, okay? How about that? How about that, you guys? Before we get into the EBT food stamp kerfuffle, it's a big story, you guys, because everybody's talking about it. So before we get into the EBT food stamp kerfuffle that everybody's talking about, we'll start off with some statistics. Okay. Here's a couple of statistics from back in 2010. 85% of the world's natural resources are owned by 2% of the world's population. And remember, that was back in 2010, okay? Now, we're gonna get to the food stamp EBT kerfuffle, but I just wanna go over these statistics before we do, because they may bear some relevance to this big discussion, okay? So the first one is, and mind you, this was in 2010, between 2010 and 2012, that the statistic was that 85% of the world's natural resources is owned by 2% of the world's population. So I would guess that statistic has changed for the worse since 2010, okay? Where it's like 99% of the world's natural resources is owned by 1% or less of the world's population. Anyways, there's one statistic. Here's another that was back around the same time, 2010, 2012. 4% of the U.S. military budget, 4% of the U.S. military budget would cut world poverty in half. Only 4% of the United States military budget, 4% of the United States military budget would cut world poverty in half. Not U.S. poverty in half, world poverty, okay? Now be patient with me, because we're gonna get to the big EBT food stamp kerfuffle, okay? It's a big thing. I just wanted to do these statistics and just some fun facts before we get into the big EBT food stamp controversy, okay? So we got 85 to 95% of the world's natural resources is owned by 2 to less than 1% of the world's population. We've got 4% of the United States military budget would cut world poverty in half. Not U.S. poverty in half. World poverty in half, okay? Okay. And then what else? There's all kinds of fun facts like this if you look for them. If do your own research, come to your own conclusions. All right? Okay, let's look at the Rothschilds. The net worth of the Rothschild family is over $13 trillion. $13 trillion could clothe, house, and feed every single person on the fucking planet. $13 trillion could solve world poverty. 4% of the United States military budget would cut world poverty in half. Over 85% of the world's natural resources is owned by less than 2% of the world's population, okay? So now, let's talk about there's a big story about food stamps getting cut off. I wonder if this EBT food stamps breaking news story is just a distraction to distract from facts like that 4% of the U.S. military budget would cut world poverty in half. Or other facts like that over 85% of the world's natural resources is owned by less than 2% of the world's population. Or the fact that the Rothschild family is worth $13 trillion, and that $13 trillion could feed, clothe, and house every single person in the entire fucking world, dude, okay? I wonder if this EBT food stamp breaking news story that everybody's talking about is just a big distraction to keep everybody divided so that the ruling class can continue to run off with all the money. While everybody bickers about whether or not people should be on food stamps and what people should do with their food stamps should they get them, and whether or not it's okay to buy cookies with fucking food stamps. Like, dude, who cares that over 95 or more percent of the world's natural resources is owned by less than 1% of the world's population? Who fucking cares? Because we're talking about fucking EBT, man. That's what's fucking viral right now, bro. We don't have time to talk about facts and shit. Dude, I'm sick of the fucking retardation, bro. How do you communicate with a fucking fully clinically retarded mass of people? How? Doesn't happen, bro. We're fucking cooked, bro. We're fucking cooked, man. So, and those are just a few, like, okay, these things that I'm listing off, like the world's natural resources are owned by fucking less than 2% of the population, that 4% of the fucking U.S. military budget would cut world poverty in half, that the Rothschilds, who are worth $13 trillion could feed, clothe, and house every single person on the entire fucking planet. Like, that's just scratching the fucking surface, bro. But what's going viral? The EBT food stamp controversy. Oh my God. Like, okay, bro, what a waste of fucking time. Like, why do people get pissed off and frustrated and just want to tell the entire internet to fuck off? I have no idea, bro. I really have no clue at all whatsoever.